push through and punch through a vision with passion, a vision with passion. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Purpose by Design podcast. I am Pamela Hinkle. I am so grateful that you are here today, listeners. Well, you are in for a treat. Many of you know how I feel about Israel and how I feel about the people in Israel. And today, I am so privileged and honored to have right from the heart of Jerusalem, Shlomo Nash is with us, and I'm so excited that you're here, Shlomo. Welcome, and we are going to talk about your family. We're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about, well, whatever is all on your tourism. I don't know. I know that this is the one thing I know, that this is going to be an amazing podcast, and these listeners are going to be so encouraged and learn so much about you and the Holocaust and everything. So I'm really looking forward to your download on us today. So would you just start us off by telling us, who is Shlomo?
Okay, very good. Okay, my name is Shlomo Nash. First of all, it's such an honor and a privilege, Pamela, to be on your podcast. And I want to wish you, before I mention myself, I want to wish you a congratulations, a really special congratulations on your, on the presentation on the summit, your summit, the ladies. This is the month, it's the year for the ladies, and the ladies have made such a tremendous impact, and yourself and your speech, and it was just so powerful. So big congratulations to yourself. Okay. So my name is Shlomo Nash, and what's amazing is, Pamela, I was brought up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Maybe you know that place, okay? But I live here in Jerusalem, Israel. And I'm a father of 7 children, and I have 8 grandchildren. I like to tell my wife, Pamela, I am 28. I feel like I'm 28, so I'm going to tell her. She doesn't believe me, but I feel like it. I'm going to tell her anyways, okay? I was brought up in Minnesota, and I went to college in Minnesota, University of Minnesota, and I was planning on going to law school. However, something changed in my life, and I'm going to speak about it. And I sort of made a change in my life. And instead of following law school, I followed my passion. And I went to Israel and became a tour guide and showing people around this unbelievable country. And today I am helping people. It's amazing when you can help people and add value to people's lives. And today I'm helping people with their health. And so important today, Pamela, because we need to take a proactive approach with our health, as you know. Right. No one knows what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So we have to take care of ourselves in terms of our exercising properly, in terms of our eating habits. And so I'm helping people around the world getting healthier, inspiring healthy living. And I'm really excited about that. And helping people with their difficulties, with being a transformational speaker, a motivational speaker, having the opportunity of being in the same Les Brown certification with you, Pamela, and helping people with coaching, giving them strength in these difficult times, because for many people it's really a difficult time. Mm-hmm. And my heart goes out to many of the people who are going out in a difficult time, going through a difficult situation. And if we are able to help and be able to give them strength and give them a little bit, light, maybe some of the light from Jerusalem, it's something special. So I am so excited to come here. It's amazing because you're in Minnesota, where I came from. Right. And I'm here in Jerusalem, Israel, where you would like to come. Yes. And we're speaking across the world, right? So I'm just very excited to be here, to tell the story with my father's story, because my father was an amazing person. And I think that it's something that I almost have an obligation or responsibility and a duty to let the world know who my father was and the greatness that he brought. Yes. From resilience from all of the pain and suffering that he went through and to the greatness that he brought to this world. So it's really a tremendous opportunity for me to do it. So I'm excited.
Wow, I am so excited to hear you tell your father's story. I've heard part of it, but I'm excited to hear that part again and anything else that you add on because I believe in honoring our parents, right? And honoring what they've done, but what your father did, which you're going to tell your story. But you know what, Shlomo, you're here today because of decisions he made. And
Yeah.
your family continues on because of decisions he made. So I know that our listeners want to hear all about that. And so, but before you tell us that story, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If you had a billboard anywhere in the world or all over the world, maybe multiple billboards, what would you have put on it?
Wow. That's an amazing, amazing kind of question. I would say that, ladies and gentlemen, your life is a gift to the world. Be
Hmm.
the gift that you were born to be. You see,
Yes.
we were born for something, right? Be the gift that you were born to be. You see,
A gift.
we're a gift. It's not just, that we go through life and we just follow, our regular routines. We have to know that really we have a gift to give to the world, ladies and gentlemen. And we need to be the gift that we were born to be. How do you know, Pamela? How do we know this? Well, I guess the more and more where your passion lies, where you
Mhm.
really feel that you can help people and do something special for the world, right? Maybe that's where the gift lies. So I think
Yes.
I'll say that.
Oh, that is a powerful billboard. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. All
Yes,
right.
definitely.
We want to hear your father's story. So take your liberty and tell us all about it.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I think about my life and my being here, I consider myself a miracle. Let me share something with you, ladies and gentlemen, as you're thinking about your goals and your dreams, because we all have goals and dreams. I want you to think about your goals and dreams. And I want you to say to yourself, it's possible. It's possible that I don't know you. I don't know your listeners, but I know that you want something else in life. I know that you want to go further. I know, for example, Pamela, that God has something more in mind for me and also for you, also for your listeners.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when I think about my life, it's really a miracle. You see, when uh, when I think about my father, and I want you to think about, when you were a child and you were in the ages of like 15 years old, and think about where you were. And my father, when he was 15 and a half years old, Pamela, he was standing, he was standing in Nazi Germany. He was standing with 18 other children on a firing squad.
Oh my gosh.
He was standing on a firing squad. 18 other children. And he was standing there ready to be murdered, to be eliminated from this world, to be wiped off the face of the earth. This is in Nazi Germany. And he's 15 and a half years old. You see, so I'm really a miracle.
Yes.
And before the German officer, before he said, ready, aim, Pamela, before he said, fire, my father, at 15 and a half years old, he jumps in the pit. And if the German officer would have seen him, he would have killed him on the spot. Miraculously, they didn't see him. And he was saved.
Mm.
It was the grace of God that saved my father.
Yes.
And he was in that pit with all the bodies on top of him, ladies and gentlemen, with all the blood on top of him. And somehow he was saved. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was always brought up. I was the youngest in my family, and I was always brought up to follow in my father's way, to do all the things, Pamela, that my father could never do and never have, and never had the education, because his education was stolen from him. So I was always following his ways and to do what he wanted to do. So I went to the University of Minnesota, where you are, not in St. Paul, but in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, yes. And to follow in his way. And then I was going to go and I started law school. But I sort of made a change from law school. And I'd like to share with your listeners why. Because one day I wanted to find out, what is it like to be a lawyer? Now, I was interested in criminal law. So I wanted to know, what is it like really to be a lawyer? So I went to a very prestigious, important lawyer in the community. And I asked him, Pamela, and I said, what is it like to be a criminal lawyer? I'm very interested. I started law school. I'm planning on following this way. Tell me what it is like. And Pamela, this gentleman who was a very, very prestigious, important lawyer, he told me, Shlomo, he said, one day there was a gentleman who came into my office and he wanted me to represent him. And he told me his whole story. And I knew that this guy was 100% guilty for murder. This is what he told me. Gosh. And you know what he told me, ladies and gentlemen? He told me, all of your listeners, he told me, I got him off. Oh. I broke the system. I did it. And I said to myself, ladies and gentlemen, I said to myself, whoa. I said to myself, no. I am not going to live the life for someone else. Yeah. My sense of integrity and courage and willpower and fortitude. I said, no, I am not going to live the life for someone else. And I know your listeners out there also, some of them, they have also that courage. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the courage and you have that willpower and the fortitude to say no, to live the life that you really want, the passion that you have, and to say to yourself, it's possible. It's possible to do something else. Yes. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I know that it was the same grace of God that saved my father in that pit that saved me from following in that way. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, when you work on a job, it's something that you get paid for. But when you work on your mission, on your purpose, Pamela, the purpose, that's you, right? The purpose, when you're working on your passion and your purpose and your calling, it's something you're made for. Yes. You see, I know that my life was something more. I know that I needed to do something more. And I know that many of you also want to do something more for yourself. You see, you're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. We're all a piece of the master of the universe. Yes. And I know it's a difficult time, for example, in the time of COVID right now. Many people are in a difficult situation. Mm-hmm. They might have lost their job. They might have been being evacuated. There are millions of people are losing their job. Mm-hmm. It's a difficult situation. And they might be in a pit, and it might be cold in that pit. And it might be very dark in that pit. But you know what? It reminds me, Pamela, of the story in the Bible with Joseph in the Bible. That I know your listeners know from the Bible, the Old Testament. And Joseph in the Bible, he was one of the 12 children. His father, Jacob, he favored him from the other brothers, and he gave him a special cloak. And one day the brothers, they had jealousy towards him because Jacob, he was favoring him over the other brothers. And they threw him in the pit. And he was in that pit. And it was dark, and I'm sure it was cold. And there may have been snakes and scorpions in that pit. But you know something, ladies and gentlemen? He got out of that pit. He was sold. He was sold in Egypt, and he had a difficult transition. He was sold to another difficult situation where he was in prison. He was in a prison. A difficult situation, but you know something, in the end? He went from the prison to presidency. As Rial, another podcast that I was on with Rial, she said he went from the prison to presidency.
Yes.
And it's pretty amazing because he came to be the second in all of Egypt. And all of the people came from all over the world to get food from him.
Right.
And he was the most important person. And he was in that pit, but he got out.
Yes.
I know something, Pamela. There's an amazing comparison between Joseph in the Bible and my father, Joseph. His name was Joseph.
Wow.
And Joseph in the Bible had many dreams. The two dreams that we know about, where the sun and the moon and the 7 and the 11 stars are bowing down to him, the sheaves of corn. And my father also had dreams when he was 5 years in different camps, concentration camps. There were dreams that gave him life, that he saw. He saw something as a vision. He saw that there was something that could come, and something would be different. And he had dreams. And Joseph in the Bible was in that pit, but he got out of that pit and he went to greatness. It was a difficult transition, ladies and gentlemen, but he went from that pit, the darkness, how cold it was, the snakes and scorpions that might have been in that pit, but he got out and he went to greatness.
Yes.
And also my father at 15 and a half years old, on this firing squad of 18 children ready to be eliminated from the world. He was the only one, Pamela, that was saved. The only one, all of the bodies on top of him and all the blood. I don't know even how, but he was saved. With the grace of God, he was saved.
Yes.
And I know I have something else to do in this world. He was saved and he brought greatness to the world. He brought life to the world. And that's the comparison. It's amazing to see that comparison. You see, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shlomo. And the S stands for step outside yourself. You see, I used to be a different Shlomo, but I had to step outside myself. And I'm a certified motivational speaker with Les Brown. And I had the opportunity of being with Pamela, and to be with Pamela. It's very special to be on your podcast, especially during this time, special time of special time for women all over the world and the greatness that they brought to this world. So step outside yourself, ladies and gentlemen. The H stands for hold yourself to a higher standard. The L stands for live life with meaning, with purpose, right? This is your podcast, with purpose.
Yes.
with passion, ladies and gentlemen. Our life, we need to have passion in our life. The O stands for our lives are a gift to the world. Be the gift that you were born to be, that you were intended to be. The M stands for master something you love and invest in yourself. Because the best investment we can make, ladies and gentlemen, is the investment in ourselves. This is what Benjamin Franklin says. Invest in yourself. And then the O stands for only quality people. Surround yourself with only quality people. People who really want to grow, who want to change, who want to do something great in this world, as you're doing on this special podcast. Reaching people all around the world, helping them see the greatness in themselves that they don't see, that you can help them. It's something very, very special. Special to be able to give to people. You know, Pamela, our mentor, Les Brown, he's an amazing person. I really learned so much from him, and I continue to learn from him. He has a tremendous compassion. And he was born, ladies and gentlemen, in an abandoned building in Liberty City in Florida. He didn't even know who his mother was. He had no future for himself. He was labeled educationally mentally retarded at an early age, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and later in the 8th grade. And he had no future for himself. How many people think in their lives that they don't have any future?
Right.
That really, it's a dark situation. They think everything's, black. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you something. Listen carefully, because what Mr. Les Brown did is he went into his school, in his high school, and he went into a classroom looking for a friend of his. And the teacher, Mr. Washington, called on him and said, young boy, go to the board and figure out the problem. Tell me the answer to the problem. And Mr. Les Brown said, I'm sorry, I can't do that, sir. And Mr. Washington said, why? And he said, sir, I can't do that. I'm not in your class. And he said, do it anyways. And all of the children in the class started laughing. They were laughing at him. Pamela, they were laughing at him and saying, he's DT. And Mr. Washington said, what is DT? And all the kids said in the room, he's the dumb twin. He has his brother, Wesley. He's the smart one. But Leslie, he's the dumb one. He's mentally retarded. And Mr. Les Brown said to Mr. Washington, Pamela, he said, yes, sir, I am. And Mr. Washington came out from his desk. And ladies and gentlemen, he looked him in the eyes. And he said to Mr. Les Brown, he said, don't you ever say that to yourself again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to determine your reality. Yes. And that day was a shocker for him. And that changed his life. Mm-hmm. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes one thing can happen in our life, Pamela, and it can change our life.
Yes.
And Mr. Les Brown, he realized from that day that he could change his life, that he could invest in himself, as Benjamin Franklin says. The best investment we can make is investment in ourselves. And he started investing in himself. And he started learning more and and growing and reading and doing all of the investment in himself. And he realized he could be the sculptor and the clay and the sculptor together. And he could sculpt his life and he could change his life. And it's amazing to see what he did. Because, ladies and gentlemen, he was not supposed to make it. You see, he was not supposed to make it, just like I wasn't supposed to be here. I was not supposed to be here. I was just not supposed to be in this world. And Mr. Les Brown was not supposed to be here. And he changed his life and he started motivating people. And first of all, corporations, major corporations of IBM and McDonald's Corporation and Google Corporation and thousands of people around the world and millions of people he's reaching. And it's amazing because you were on the summit. Pamela, you were just on the summit. Congratulations to all the tremendous women, the greatness that they're bringing to this world. And Mr. Les Brown, that he's giving such a giving of himself. Ladies and gentlemen, he's reaching millions of people around the world. He could be sitting on the beach, taking his piano, drinking and just looking at the stars, And what does he do? He believes he has a calling and he's going out with this tremendous compassion to help other people, to give to other people. So many people are in a difficult situation. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in a pit and it's a difficult situation and you really don't know how you're going to get out, right? I want you to remember Joseph from the Bible. He was in the pit. He was in the pit and it was dark and there were snakes and scorpions and he didn't know how he was going to get out. And it was a transition and life is a transition. And he got out and he became great. The second to the king in all of Egypt, where everybody needed to come to him to get the food. And my father was in that pit and was the only one that survived. With all those people, all of those children on top of him.
Oh my gosh.
And somehow he made it. And he got out of that pit. And not only, Pamela, did he get out of that pit, he brought greatness to the world.
Yes.
He would always want to help people. Pamela, it's amazing because you would think that a person that went through so much difficulty, so much hardship, he would always give. I remember there was one time he didn't even want to tell me the stories. But my brother told me that one time he was working for the German Reichstag, for the government. And he was working in the cement. And they had boots on. And the cement was coming and coming down. And one day he saw another person that was working with him in the cement. And the truck with the cement comes and it's coming and all the cement is coming down and down. And the cement was going on the person and the person just sunk in the cement. And my father was there and somehow he got saved. Somehow he jumped out of those boots. I don't even know how. And he was saved. And another time he told me, he didn't tell me, my brother told me. Another time, the German officer didn't like what he was doing in terms of how he was working. And he took a 2x4 and he blasted him right across his shoulder. And he fell down and it was all blood. And when he went back to the barracks, in the middle of the night, he had a dream. And in the dream, he saw his mother. He saw his mother, and she was in a black dress. And her hands were going out to him, to come to him. And he knew that something terrible was going to happen. And he was all swollen and all full of blood. And he had some type of a garment to hold it. And he knew something terrible was going to happen. And he got up and washed it and cleaned himself up. And shortly after that, there was a roll call. And all of the Germans, they had a roll call of all the people to come to see who's going to be strong and who's not is going to go to the gas chamber.
Oh my gosh.
And my father stood up strong, in pain from the terrible hit that he got from this German officer. But he washed it up to try and show that he was strong. And he passed over.
Wow.
I'm really a miracle, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to show up. So I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, one thing in your life can change your life. And even if you're in a difficult situation now, life is a transition and we can get out from it. You're not alone. You can get out from your situation. Things will get better. My mentor, Les Brown, many times we don't know how to do things. And he says, leap and grow your wings on the way down. You know, we don't know exactly, but you have to leap and grow your wings on the way down, ladies and gentlemen. You see, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So you have to get started. So we have to work on ourselves. And in this time period, in COVID-19, it's a difficult time period, but my father gives me strength. My father gives me tremendous strength to know that I've got to continue, that I have a responsibility and a duty and an obligation for me, for myself, for my soul, for my family. Thank God I have 7 children. I'm blessed. I have 8 grandchildren. I feel like I'm 28. I told you. My wife doesn't believe me, but I feel like I am, so I'm going to tell the world. And my mentor, Les Brown, he says, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars.
Yes.
Pamela, that's what you're doing on this broadcast, on this podcast. You're shooting for the moon. You're reaching people all around the world with a message, helping them. And I'm honored and privileged to be on your podcast. I'm helping people, transforming people all around the world, speaking to them, giving them a little bit of strength during this difficult time period, trying to coach them, help them, guide them, inspiring healthy living. It's a tremendous opportunity. I'm able to help people getting healthier. And today we have to take a proactive approach with our health because so many people don't know. We don't know. We can't rely on our health situation, on all of our insurances. Just like we can't rely on our jobs with our wealth. So that's why we have to take a proactive approach with our health and also with our wealth. And I have the opportunity of helping people around the world from my home, being able to inspire healthy living and help people getting healthier and helping people, motivating them, transforming them, being a certified Les Brown speaker together with you. And it's just such an honor and privilege, as I mentioned, to be on the podcast with you, to share the world with the story of my father with the world, because he brought so much greatness to this world. There were many times I could tell the listeners that I was with him, and there were people who didn't, like different bums. People were walking around and they didn't have anything, and they didn't have what to eat, and they would just ask for, a coin or something. My father, he wouldn't just give him a coin because he knew what it was not to get food. He knew what it was not to have even a potato. And he would take these guys, I would remember, I saw it with my own eyes, ladies and gentlemen. He would take these guys, Frank, his name was Frank, and other people as well. And he would take him outside from where he was working, and he would take him to a store, to a restaurant, and he'd tell him, and he would say, go down and eat whatever you want, and I'll pay for it. And he was a giver. He was a giver. And my father gives me so much strength. I'm so thankful that what I have in my life, and I'm continuing on, continuing on a legacy. As Henry W. Thoreau says, don't go where there's no path, ladies and gentlemen, but create a path and leave a trail. So Pamela, you're creating the path, and I'm hopefully helping to leave a trail. And I want to leave a trail. I want to be able to to have an impact on people and to help people because I feel like I have a calling, a mission to do something to help people, to give to people. So thank you so much for letting me share a little bit of the greatness of my father and his story and the strength that he gives me with the world.
Wow. What an amazing story. What an amazing story. Uh, I want to say, first of all, Shlomo, I'm so sorry that all of those things that happened. I'm so sorry. But beyond that, I'm so grateful that your father, even at his young age, heeded those subtle leadings of Hashem. He took those and would jump into that pit. I'm so grateful that he listened to that dream and
Yeah.
cleaned himself up, because even though in the physical, natural realm, no, it looks like it was a dead end for Shlomo or anybody to carry on Joseph's name.
That's
But
right.
in heaven's eyes, you and your family were necessary. You were a miracle and you were necessary. And the lives that you are touching in all the different ways, from the touring that you have done, the tour guide, the leading, the being a certified speaker. I still have a couple of questions for you around health and nutrition, what you are doing and how you are helping people. And then, of course, bringing awareness to the Holocaust in general, bringing that awareness. I have been to the Holocaust Museum in Israel. I've been there. And I think that when you take a group of people there, they need to go. They need to see it. It's real. It's not a made up story. It's real. And to hear your story of your family and of your father is a very important, necessary piece of history that
Yes.
God has given to you to share and to pay tribute to your father. What an amazing man. Now, he was 15 when he jumped into the pit, right?
Yeah.
How long? Did he ever say how long he had to stay there before he could crawl out, before he knew it was safe?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I have no idea because I was the youngest and my father didn't even want to tell me. He didn't want to tell me about what he had gone through. And I just remember times when in the middle of the night, he would just get up and he would be screaming. And that I remember. And he was the only one, Pamela, from his family that was survived. The only one.
Wow.
So I really have a legacy.
Yes, you
I
do.
have something amazing to continue for my father because he wasn't supposed to be here and I wasn't supposed to be here and all of my children. And it's amazing. It's really amazing that
It is.
I continue.
It is. It is nothing short of miraculous. You have a book in there, Shlomo. You need to get busy.
That's right. That's right.
Writing it out or getting somebody that you can dictate it to, that can ask you the questions and get that out, because it's a powerful story. One other question about your father. When do you know how old he was when he had that injury on his arm when he was hit? Was this before before he was 15? Was he younger? Or was this
No,
after that?
that was after that. It was
Okay.
after that. Now, I want you to understand, my father, he was in the camps, the concentration camps, for 5 years. 5 years.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
I don't understand how, how could a person continue, you know? It's amazing. And one of the things that I remember him saying, that the dreams of seeing his mother, seeing his mother and comforting him,
Wow.
because he was so close to his mother, and he never. I guess he had all of his a vision of his mother, that he was always with his mother, and she was guiding him, and that's what gave him the strength. And it's so amazing because his mother was guiding him, and my father is guiding me, and
Beautiful.
it's special.
Did he ever see his mother or father again?
No, 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 he did not.
Very, very, I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
But how beautiful that he had his mother spiritually to guide him. And now
Yes.
that legacy leads you on as you follow your father's footsteps, as you followed his mother and his father's footsteps. And now what you're leaving as a legacy, not just to your immediate family, but to all. I mean, this podcast of you telling this story, it needs to
Mhm.
go viral. So, to the listeners, I always ask you at the end, and we're not quite to the end yet, but I just feel compelled to say this: click subscribe and share. People need to hear this story because you know what? This is Shlomo's legacy, and you're a part of it because you're hearing it. So pay it forward and let somebody else hear it. Yes,
Thank you.
because it'll save somebody's life. It'll change somebody's forever. It really will. And I'm sure for your family, family has probably a different meaning altogether to you because if your father never saw members of his family again, and maybe not just mom or dad, but aunties, uncles, whoever, even siblings, if he never saw them again, there's an appreciation, a grieving, but an appreciation that he had. I'm sure part of the reason why he didn't even want to discuss certain things was he wanted to major on the majors, right? And wanted to create an environment of family, and the goodness of that, the goodness of God in the land of the living, right? He wanted to create that for you and for his children and his legacy, his grandchildren. And now you're passing that on, and that's a very powerful thing. And I consider this like a sacred space here that you would open up and share the depths of this. I mean, thank you, Shlomo. And I don't take it lightly. And what you're doing is amazing. And that you've taken it further. Your father was maybe taking people and making sure that they ate when they were hungry or clothed when they needed clothing. But you now are teaching people how to live a healthy life, how to chase their dreams. So it's like this legacy, the baton was passed to you, and you're taking it further now because that's part of what you do. Would you share a little bit with us on the nutrition side of it? Because I know that's a big deal for you. And I remember being in Israel and thinking, this is amazing how healthy everything was. Well, maybe not all the falafels, but but the salad bars were like nothing I'd ever seen here before. The Mediterranean salads, everything. There was just a different level of what was expected, uh, as far as our everyday health was, that we don't always see in America. But
No.
beyond that, you have taken it even further. So, in the time remaining, would you be willing to share a little bit about that with us?
Sure, 100%. Okay, be my pleasure. Okay. One thing, Pamela, we know doctors all around the world tell us the importance of eating, many, many fruits and vegetables, like between 7 and 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day.
Mhm.
This is what doctors tell us all around the world, that it's so important for us to eat well, to eat fruits and vegetables. So many people cannot eat so many fruits and vegetables. It's very difficult. So And here in Israel, we have actually a lot of fruits and vegetables, and people are more conscious about eating more fruits and vegetables. But especially in America, I think it's an epidemic in
Mhm.
terms of not eating properly and not taking care of yourself, and it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, for us to look after ourselves, to
Yes.
take care of ourselves, just like we have to take care of ourselves physically, mentally, also physically.
Mhm.
So we have to exercise and eat properly. And there's a whole program, Healthy Living Revolution, that I'm connected with. And I'm helping people through this, through a combination of exercise, through a combination of changing your habits and introducing fruits and vegetables. And it's amazing because I'm able to do it, Pamela, from my home. And I'm helping people. I'm helping people, which is my passion because I like to help people. I'm helping people getting healthier.
Yes.
And I'm helping people in America, in Florida. I have people that I've helped in Florida and in California and even in Mexico and in England. And I'm doing it from my home. So it's very, very special. So if you'd like to be in contact with me, you can get my contact information. It'd be a pleasure to do so. Okay. And it's just a whole healthy living revolution. It's really amazing just to see how making small changes in our health, Pamela, we can start seeing changes and really changing, the way we are
Yes.
and being healthier. It's so important. Like I was mentioning earlier, we have to take a proactive approach, ladies and gentlemen, with respect to our health and our wealth, because no one's going to do it for us today. No one. You can see it with the insurances and, so many people. We cannot rely on anyone.
Right.
We cannot rely on anyone, not for our health and not for our wealth. Right? We think that we're waiting, for our stimulus check and is it going to come through? Is it not going to come through? We can't rely on this. We have to invest in ourselves. We have to try and, as my mentor says, leap and grow our wings on the way down to try and figure out how we can do things differently, to be more flexible. You know, I was working as a tour guide, empowering people and showing them the beauty of Jerusalem. I have so much passion for Jerusalem, and it's amazing because you can be walking in the footsteps, Pamela. You have to come with your family. You can be walking in the footsteps of the kings and prophets. You go to the city of David, ladies and gentlemen, and you can walk in the footsteps where King David was, and King Solomon, and Hezekiah. And you go to what's called the Gihon Spring and the Siloam Pool, and you can see what they found there. And you go to the southern excavations, and that's the places where Jesus was probably, preaching there. And that was where most of the nation were going, from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain, from the impure, and they would go up and they descend to the mount, right? And it's pretty amazing because you can be in these places and
Yes.
walk in these places. But as you know, today, there's no tourism. There's no tourism. Maybe things will open up a little bit right now, but with COVID-19, everything was shut down. So I would be in a difficult situation. So I had to be flexible and I had to change and I had to invest in myself. And that's what we're learning from Mr. Les Brown, to invest in ourselves, to realize that we have to do everything we can do to bring out the greatness in ourselves, because we do have greatness in ourselves and we have to bring it out. So it's such an honor and a privilege that I can also tell you about how I'm helping people getting healthier around the world from my home and from my computer. Who
Yes.
would think you can do things from your computer? We're across the world. In Minnesota, I'm in Jerusalem, and I'm speaking to people in Mexico and in England the other day, and it's amazing. So
It's
that's what we're doing.
what you have an international business right from your home.
Yes, that's right.
Helping so many people on multiple levels in so many ways. Shlomo, thank you so much for being here today. And yes, all the contact information for Shlomo is in the description. So you will be able to just read that description and see all the different ways to reach out to him and information about the Healthy Living Revolution, right? Did I say that right? Healthy Living
Yes,
Revolution? Okay.
yes.
And, I encourage you to reach out to him, whether it is to learn more about his family, more about the healthy revolution, living revolution, or his story, or about being, the motivational speaker and doing the things that he does. How awesome is it that it is very simple to send an email or to get on a Zoom call like this and do a podcast, and we're connected all over the world. So I totally am with you there, Shlomo. It's very awesome. And besides that, I today am sitting talking with a miracle. I mean, that is very cool in and of itself, right? And then on top of it, in Jerusalem, my favorite city. So this has been just a treasure and a treat. Thank you, Shlomo, for being here today.
Okay,
So
it's really a pleasure, and it is, and there is going to be a book. I'm working on a book. Okay, working on a book. In fact, there's going to be a chapter that I have the opportunity together to be a co-author, co-author. Okay, together with Pamela. It's going to be special. Okay,
yes, yes.
and be very, very special to be co-authoring together with yourself. And there will be a book coming out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let the world know about the greatness of my father, and to let people know, that it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are right now, what situation you are. You're in that pit. Ladies and gentlemen, life is a transition, and you will get out from that situation.
Yes.
Okay, and you will come to greatness, because we have greatness inside of ourselves. And Pamela, you are the epitome of the greatness, right? Being on the summit with Mr. Les Brown and speaking with so much passion, and you're helping people around the world getting healthier, and helping the people around the world, with their goals and reaching their need to be on your podcast. And I hope that all of you, if you'd like to reach out to me, it'd be my pleasure to speak with you, to take you on an adventure in Jerusalem, and more importantly, to help you, to give you a little bit of strength, and to guide you to know that things will change. Okay, and I have a coaching system that I'm working with people and helping transform people and helping people overcome a lot of difficulties in their life.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much, Shlomo. And to the listeners here, thank you for tuning in. And I already asked you to like and subscribe and share, but I'm asking you again, because when we do this, we let people know, we let everybody know that there is a desire for these kind of teachings and this kind of education. Purpose by Design is a whole new world. And so we're introducing the new world to all those around us. So I thank you for being here today. As always, you are the salt and the light. So go on out and be the salt and the light everywhere you go. Thanks for tuning in, and blessings.
Blessings to everyone. Thank you so much.